Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is Azrin here, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds, and welcome to another Learn Gujarati with me video and podcast. If you're listening to today's episode on a podcasting platform, please note that there is a video version of every single episode on YouTube as well as on Spotify. Once or twice on Spotify, there have been some issues with the video uploading, and so if you're listening on Spotify and there is no video, it's because there was a technical glitch and I just had to upload the audio. In the video versions, I have a screen share going to have visuals to support all the audio in the episodes. So we're going to work with a lighter topic today, lighter than what we did last time anyway, which is possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives. Here we go. Possessive adjectives, in very simple terms, these are words we use to indicate who an object belongs to. The English possessive adjectives are the following: my, your, his, her, our, their. We also have its, but Gujarati doesn't have an its, it doesn't have it. So all these words here, I'm going to erase its off the screen. All these words here, these are our possessive adjectives in English. So if I say my brother, my car, your sister, your friend, my such and such, his such and such, it's just telling you who something belongs to, okay? In Gujarati, pretty straightforward how to say these. The word for my is maro. Your, we have two options. We have taro, or we have tamaro. Taro is informal. Tamaro is formal. I'll put an I for informal, an F for formal. So informal for taro, formal for tamaro. We have, for his and her, it's the same word for both of them. The word I'm going to give you right now is eno. Her is also eno. We have another word as well. I'm going to write it, but I'm going to erase it right after. The word here is teno, and it works for both his and her. The only difference between eno and teno, really there isn't one. I think the difference is speaking and writing. I think teno is used more in writing and eno is used more in speaking. That's just based on my personal experience. I don't know if that's a hardened, how would you say? If that's like 100% fact per se. That's just my personal experience. I have had some native Gujaratis that have told me like, no, that's not really true. But everyone I've talked to, like when I observe Gujaratis talking, when I observe it, that's what seems to be true to me. I'm not sure. More often than not, people seem to be using eno. That's the word we're going to stick with for the time being. Okay? I'm just going to erase teno, but it does exist. And it's very common, especially in writing. Okay, so eno just for the time being, for our purposes. Eno for his, eno for her, same word for both. Our, we have two different words. Amaro. And we have apan no. Amaro, apan no. Aparno has another possible variation, which is apro. Aparno and apro. You're going to see or hear both of them, depends on the person. I think more often than not, people are probably going to pronounce the second one, apro, because it's just a little bit faster, but you will, if you're reading, you're probably going to see both. The difference between these two I've talked about before. It's not to do with formality, nothing like that. Amaro is exclusive. Aparno and apro, they're synonyms. They are both inclusive. I've said this before. This means that if I'm talking to you and I'm saying we went to the park, or rather, let's use the word our. Let's say I said our friend, and I was referring to a friend that is both your friend and my friend. Okay, so let's just quickly draw it out. Right, here's you. Right, this is you. Here's me. Here's the friend. Right, if this friend, oops, that's messy. If this friend here is both of our friends, or both of our friend, we're going to use the inclusive our, which is this one here. Apno, aprano. Okay. However, if there's you, me, a friend, and let's put a picture of my brother. Okay, this is my brother. Now let's say this friend belongs to me and my brother, like it's our friend, as in my brother's friend and my friend, but he's not your friend. Then I'm going to use the exclusive we. If I was talking to you and I was saying my friend, rather our friend, he's not your friend. He's my friend and my brother's friend, not yours. I'm going to use the exclusive our and use amaro. I've talked about this before. It's not the first time. If you have questions about it, you're more than welcome to ask. It's one of the very first episodes of this that I made on this channel. So anyway, we have amaro, aparano, aparno. So different words for our. Let's leave the inclusive, exclusive on the screen for now. And the word for there, we have two options. In writing, we tend to see theo, no. In my experience anyway, when people talk, they're probably going to say more e loco no. So when people are talking, in my experience, people tend to say more often e loco no. In writing, in my experience, people tend to say theo no. Okay. I'm just going to write, doesn't really matter. I'll leave e loco no on the screen for our purposes just for now. But just please note that there is theo, especially in writing. But just for the time being, I'm just going to put e loco. E loco no. Now, so pretty straightforward, nothing overly complicated here. I will point out one thing for his and her specifically. If the his or her that you're referring to is someone that you want to show extra respect to or extra formality towards, you're going to say emno and not eno, right? So if it's like my grandpa's cell phone or phone, I would say emno phone. Why? Because my grandpa is older than me. He's someone I would use tame with, right? If you know that word. Tame is the formal word for you, right? So in a formal context, we are going to say emno, and we're not going to say eno. Okay, so that's something worth pointing out. I'm going to erase it because I'm going to need the space here in a sec, but please note that that is something worth remembering. Now, Gujarati is a gendered language. That might be something you're already familiar with. Maybe yes, maybe not. I'll explain what it means. Every single object, every single noun in Gujarati has a gender. We have masculine nouns. Masculine nouns tend to end in o. So for example, the word darvajo, darvajo means door. Notice how the last letter in darvajo is an o, right? So many masculine nouns end in o. If we take a feminine word such as body, body means window. Notice how body ends in an E, or rather the E sound like an I, right? So feminine nouns tend to end in E. We also have neuter. Neuter, they say ends in U, but ultimately a lot of the neuter words don't actually end in U, but they say they do, but really a lot of them don't. I'll give you an example. Ghar, right? Ghar means house. It doesn't end in U, but it is neuter. Now, as you learn Gujarati, even, for the entirety of your Gujarati learning journey, what's going to happen is you are going to forget or not know the gender of words. It's really normal, really, really common, nothing to be worried about. You'll just have to look it up or ask someone what the gender is. quick backstory. I've been learning French for most of my life, well over 20 years, 26 years. Not even learning at this point anymore. I basically speak it very, 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 very fluently, let's say. And even after 20 plus years in French, I will sometimes forget the gender of words, or I have to go look them up. Like, oh, I forget what the gender of that word is. I do have on my computer, I don't even know where I got it anymore. I don't remember. I do have a Gujarati, a relatively comprehensive Gujarati dictionary that will just tell you what the gender of a word is. If you do want it, let me know. Just there's a contact. Go to Azarin. I'll just write it here. Azarin, the, very neatly, language nerd. So Azarin, A-Z or Z-R-E-N, thelanguagenerd.com/contact. You can contact me, you can email me from there. And if I can send you the PDF dictionary that I downloaded from who knows where. I don't even know. The other way to get genders of words, if you don't know how to get the gender, if you're like, how do I know if it's masculine or feminine or neuter or whatever it is? Well, there's a very simple way to do it. You open up Google Translate, you go English to Gujarati, you take the word that you're trying to find a gender for. So let's say you're looking for the gender of chair, right? What you're going to do is you're going to write in English. So here's Google Translate. Okay, here's our translate. Let's say this side on the left is English. This side on the right is Gujarati, right? In English, you're going to write my chair. That's what I want you to write, my chair. And on the Gujarati side of things, what you're going to have show up is the Gujarati translation, right? You're going to have Mari Kursi. Right? Oh, I'm not going to write. I'll write with English letters. Mari Kursi. Right? You're getting a Mari Kursi. Based on Mari means my, one word for my. Mari is a feminine version of my. So now we know that Kursi is feminine. Then that's how a really easy way to get the gender of words, because it's, I don't know if there's another way. Maybe there's another way to do it. I don't know. But that's how I do it if I don't have my PDF dictionary handy or open on my computer. Now, you might be thinking like, wait, Azran, you lost me there. What do you mean by like Mari is the feminine word for my? Because you told me that the word for my is maro. Like, where did this Mari come from? Well, let's talk about that. So as we learned a second ago, Gujarati is a gendered language. We have every single word has one of three genders, masculine, feminine, or neuter. If the object you're talking about is feminine, we're not going to say maro, we're going to say mari. We're not going to say taro for your, we're going to say tari. We're not going to say tamaro, we'll say tamari. We're not going to say his or her for eno, we're going to say eni for his and her. Amaro, aparno, or apno, whichever, right, becomes apni, amari. Elokono or theono, remember we have theo as well, becomes theo ni, eloko ni for there. So my sister would not be Maro Ben. It'll be Mari Ben because my sister's a girl. Mari Ben. My window or his window, it will not be Eno body. That's wrong. We're going to have any body. Any body. Why? Because body is feminine. Body is a feminine noun. Remember, all nouns have a gender. I know it's kind of weird, but or maybe unusual from an English logic, but that's just how Gujarati works. And many languages work. Okay. Let's get rid of this word over here. Why isn't it going away? Go away, go away, go away. There we go. So Mari for feminine, Maro for masculine. Tari, tamari for your feminine, Taro, tamaro for your masculine. Any for his, her feminine, eno for his or her masculine, so on and so forth. Okay. For neuter, you can maybe guess, it's logical enough, right? We had o, we did the o for masculine, e for feminine, u for neuter. So if it's my house, house is a neuter noun, we're going to say maru. So not mari, but maru ghar. Not tari ghar, not taro ghar, but taru ghar. Not tamari ghar, not tamaro ghar, but tamaru ghar. Right? We have all these oo's that replace the e's. There we go. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. There's one more that I have to show you. Let's clear the screen a little bit, clean it up a bit. Okay, there we go. Let's erase a couple more things here. Get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Okay. There's one more that's worth going over. That's part of possessive adjectives, and it has to do with plurals. If you have a masculine plural or a feminine, feminine, or a neuter plural, not feminine, or a neuter plural, noodle plural, there we go. We're not going to say maro. We're not going to say mari. We're not going to say mara. We're not going to say maru. So not maro, not mari, not maru. But we're going to say instead mara. So like my one brother, maro bhai. Two brothers, mara bhai. My one house, remember, and house is neuter. Oops. My one house, maru ghar. I have two houses, not maru ghar, mara ghar. Your house, one, taru or tamaru, one of the two. Tamaru for more formal. Ghar. You have more than one house? Tara or tamara ghar. Okay. So all these O's, all right, interchange to a. Tara, tamara, ena, amara, so on and so forth. Right? Elokona. So as a recap, we have, I'll do a nice recap here. I'll scroll down just to save time on me erasing everything. As a recap, we have our masculine possessive adjectives are going to end in o. Sorry, masculine, let's leave it there. Masculine possessive adjectives end in o. Feminine possessive adjectives end in e. Mari, tamari, right? Neuter possessive adjectives end in u. If we have a plural, masculine plural, or neuter plural, as in more than one house, more than one brother, more than one phone, more than one door, right? We're going to have the ending be an a. Mara, ena, tamara, tara, elokona, teona, tena, so on and so forth. Okay. The a usage, I circled it here. Mara, for example. There's one more time we use that, and that's if we're showing respect. So I would never say if I want to say my grandpa, right? I would never say maro, nana. I would never say maro, nana. I'm going to say mara. My grandpa's older than me. I want to show respect to my grandfather. I would never say my grandmother, as in Mari, right? I'm not going to say Mari, Nani. No, we're going to say Mara. Why? She's older. I want to show respect to her, right? That's how it is. With age, you show more respect. So this a form over here, we also use when we're showing respect. So it's something that you own, it belongs to you, quote unquote, it's yours, but you want to show respect because the person, usually it's going to be for people for this one here, the person in question is older and you want to show respect to that person. Okay. Anything else you want to cover in this unit here? I think that's a good place to end this. Okay, that's a really good place to end it. I'm going to do one more thing, but I want to give some homework first, and then I'll do one last thing that's a bit more advanced, but I want to give the homework in case you don't want to get to the more advanced thing. So if you want to practice this, here's what we'll do. Give you a couple ways to practice. Way number one, pick 20 things in your house. Write this on the screen. "20 things in your house." Chair, table, kitchen, whatever. Could be rooms, could be objects, could be people, could be anything, right? That's number one. Pick 20 things in your house. We're going to go to step 2. Go to Google. And I want you to search for each one of those things. Google Translate specifically. Google Translate. Go to Google Translate. And I want you to search my and that object. My chair. My dog. For each one, my chair, my dog, my sister, my this, right? That's going to give you the gender of that object. So if you get, as a reminder, if you end up with a maro, right? If we end up with a maro, we know it's masculine. So we get maro kutro, my dog. Because maro showed up in Google Translate, we know it's masculine. Right? If mari shows up, we know it's feminine. If maru shows up, we know it's neuter. If yeah, you'll get those 3. And are you ever going to get a mara? Let me think. Is that ever going to happen? Sometimes you might get a mara. You might end up, Google Translate might give you a mara. Like if you searched my grandpa, Google Translate will probably give you a mara, and that's going to be because you're showing respect, right? Respect. But generally, you're going to get one of these 3 most of the time, right? Maro, mari, maru. Okay? That's that. That's step 2. Step 3, once you have the genders of all these words, because you'll need the gender, I just want you to write down, very simple sentence, very, 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 very simple, right? Oops. Pick a possessive adjective, right? Could be my, could be your, could be his, could be her, could be their, could be our. Someone's, blah, 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 che. Oh, hang on, we're going to write with English letters. Che. So for example, what does that mean? Basically, this means this is someone something. For example, maro phone che. This is my phone. Tamaro. Looking around me for inspiration. Tamaro. I have a door in front of me. Tamaro darvajo che. Right, this is your door. Right, 20 sentences, and I want you to use a mixture of maro, mari, maru, tamaro, taro, amaro, so on and so forth. Eloko no, right? I want you to use a mixture of all these different words that we've learned, okay? Step 4, show these sentences to someone you know, right? A Gujarati person you know, to get them corrected. So you know if you got them right or not. For those listening on the audio, there's a pause because I'm just writing this instruction on the screen. You know, for corrections. Okay. So that's let's leave it that. Let's keep it really simple. That's a really simple way to practice this. I want to get into 2 more things for possessive adjectives. It's a little bit more advanced. The first one's not that advanced. The second one is a little bit more advanced. So if you're like, wow, this is enough, feel free to stop listening, stop watching, go do the homework, and off you go. But if you want to stick around for something a little bit more advanced, you're more than welcome to stick around. So 2 things that are a bit more advanced. One is pretty easy though. It's not that difficult. We know the word for his and her. Now, what if you want to say not his phone, but my brother's phone, my brother's friend? Like you're not saying his and her, you're just saying, let's scroll back down. What if you want to say like, right? What if you want to say like an apostrophe-S, Sam's house, Sarah's, I guess we can use Indian names. Shouldn't we do that? Doesn't matter, right? Sarah's sister. Right, let's pick an Indian name, Rahul. Rahul's what it is? Rahul's car. Okay. Well, how do we do that apostrophe-S? Rahul's, Sarah's, Sam's. These are also possessives, right? It belongs to someone. Really easy, not that hard at all. Remember up here, we scroll up all the way to the top. We had eno, any, ena. We have these no, nu, na, and knees, right? Eno ghar, enu ghar, any ben, ena bhai, eno. I keep thinking, I only can think of darwajo right now for masculine. There's so many words for it, but regardless, eno darwajo, for example. What we're going to do is we're going to use those no, ni, nu, nas with names. So if it's like Sam's house, we would say Sam nu ghar. Sarah, for Sarah's sister, Sarah ni ben. Rahul's car, Rahul ni gadi. No we use for masculine objects. Nu for feminine objects. Nu for neuter objects. What am I saying? Nu for neuter objects. Ni for feminine objects. Na if we're going to have masculine or neuter plural. And or rather, if we're showing respect. Right? So if it's my grandpa's, if I was saying like, if we had someone's name, let's say we picked, let's say Rahul was my grandfather. And I was saying Rahul's brother or Rahul's wife or Rahul something, right? Rahul, let's think of an example here. Let's say I'm showing respect to, yeah, let's say it's Rahul and it's his is his older brother or something, and I'm showing respect. I'm going to say Rahul na bhai, right? Or let's say it was It's careful. It's showing respect. How do I say this? It's showing respect not to Rahul. It's showing respect to whatever Rahul owns. So it's for objects, it's never gonna, you're not gonna show respect to objects. It'll usually be to people. So if it's Rahul, I'll give you some examples. That might be confusing. If it's let's say Rahul's my grandfather, so someone I would respect, right? Rahul's house is still gonna be Rahul nu ghar. Or because we're not really showing respect to a house, it's just an object, right? But if it was Rahul's brother, right? And let's say it's actually even more. Let's make it more than brother. Let's make it grandfather. Rahul's grandfather. Okay. Grandpa. Now we're gonna have Rahul na nana or dada. Because for nana or dada, we are gonna show respect because it's a nana, it's a dada, it's an older person we're trying to show respect to. Okay. So it doesn't matter who Rahul is. Rahul, we don't care who Rahul is. He's not important. Rahul is not an important person. If your name is Rahul, I'm very sorry. You are important. But this Rahul is not important. Who is important is the person that we're referring to in relation to Rahul. And for objects, it's not going to matter. It's just going to matter for people. Okay? So that's just no, nu, ni, na. No for masculine, nu for neuter, ni for feminine, na for masculine or neuter plural, or if you're showing respect. And that basically in English would equate to an apostrophe-S. Sam's, Sarah's, Bob's, Rahul's, Shilpa's, right? That's that. Not too hard, I hope. That one's relatively straightforward enough. There's one more thing with possessive adjectives that we should talk about, which I am probably going to talk about in another video another day, but let's also talk about it today. And this does get a bit trickier, okay? So again, if you're already got a lot of information in your brain, then feel free to stop and come back to this another day. But let's keep going here for those that are still sticking around. And we're going to talk about how these possessive adjectives come into play with prepositions. Make sure this audio is still recording. Yeah, it is good. This microphone sometimes dies on me and I don't see that it died. So I'm just like talking and you can't hear a word I'm saying. So prepositions. I'll give you some English prepositions. You probably don't know what that is. So maybe you do. If you do, then wonderful. I'll give you some examples of English prepositions. So prepositions, some examples of English ones would be like in, on, below, at, right? We also have things like, for example, before, after, to, right? So other examples could be for actually to, yeah, I'll put it there, it's fine. So other examples of English prepositions would be, for instance, actually, let's just leave those actually. So you might be thinking like, what the heck are these words? Like, are these like, what is a preposition? Well, prepositions more often than not are going to show you where something is, right? So if we look at these ones here on the left, in, on, below, at, these are like where is it? On my desk, it's in my drawer, it's besides another one, right? Beside my friend, it's whatever, right? And then we also have some that indicate, I suppose they're like time prepositions. Yeah, time prepositions. Be careful, time prepositions are not, actually, would it be? Let me just double check if this is right. Is that right, actually? Let me think if this is true actually before I say it. I want to say it's not, but in Gujarati it might be. If we said, no, it's not really going to work actually. Yeah, no, it's not going to work. Really, for our purposes, especially these possessive adjectives, really the ones I feel like we're going to see more often than not are going to be these where ones, really. Like these ones, these kinds of like where ones in, on, below, beside, at. Like that's kind of where we're going to have the vast majority, I find. Okay. Now you might be thinking, well, what the heck is the connection, right? Connection to prepositions and possessive adjectives, right? What's the connection? Well, let me show it to you. Let me give you a bit of a longer sentence. I am, oops, not I am. We can do I am, yeah, that works. I am talking to my friend. I'm talking to my friend. In Gujarati, this would be the following. Now, initially, it might look like this. The sentence initially will look something like this. Maro mitra સાથે or જોડે, depends on the dialect or person. વાત કરું છું. This is what you'd end up with initially. When we have a preposition in our sentence, the preposition of the sentence is સાથે or જોડે, which means with. Right, with is a preposition. I understand it's not really a where word, although I guess it kind of is a where word. It is a bit of a where word, isn't it? Like if you're with someone, that's indicating where you are, I guess. I suppose it's kind of a where word, is it not? I guess. Right? If you're talking with your friend, if you say હું મારો મિત્ર સાથે or જોડે વાત કરું છું, this is actually not quite right. When we have a preposition in our sentence, મારો changes to મારા. હું મારા મિત્ર સાથે or જોડે વાત કરું છું. This only happens with neuter and masculine. Neuter and masculine possessive adjectives. So only for the o and the us. So neuter and masculine. Okay. So હું મારા મિત્ર સાથે or જોડે વાત કરું છું. I'll give you another example of this. I feel like I could be wrong. It might just be the types of examples that come to mind for me. I feel like more often than not, if you're looking for a bit of a shortcut with this, I feel that more often than not, the preposition you're going to have is probably sate or jore. Yeah, I feel like that's what you're going to get. And maybe there's others too, but that's a lot of the examples I get often end up with sate or jore. Right? Another example could be something like, I'll write it here. I'll write a Gujarati, or English rather, to start. He is working with his, I don't know, his younger brother. He is working with his younger brother. Ena. Sorry, let's do eno to start. Eno. Nano. Bhai. Jhore. Or સાથે. કામ કરે છે. Right? initially, this looks right? Initially, oh yeah, he's working with, so if you got a little bit of base in Gujarati, this will look correct to you, at least initially. However, this actually is not correct because remember we have maro changing to mara before. Well, eno has to change to ena. Why? Because again, we have a preposition in the sentence. Ena nano bhai sathe kaam kare che. Now, I hope that makes sense. I hope it's not too complicated. Long story short, when you have a preposition in your sentence and you have a possessive adjective in a neuter form or a masculine form, right? That o or u form, what's going to happen is that eno, maro, maru, amaru, amaro, they all have to change to amara, ena, mara. They have to change. Now, are you ready for one more thing? Hopefully you are. Maybe this is getting really even deeper than we need to, but let's do it. We're here. Let's dive into it, right? Again, at any point, feel free to hop off if it's getting like too hard or too much information, but let's keep going here. I did warn you that it's going to get a bit more advanced in the kind of latter half of this episode. Now, this concept of these as, maro changing to mara, maru changing to mara, taru changing to tara, right? These u's and o's change to a when we have a preposition. This same concept also happens to nouns and it also happens to adjectives. So in this sentence, he is working with his younger brother. Na. We don't have nano as an adjective, right? It's an adjective. Let's use a different color. Let's use a green. Right, this is an adjective. So it's not going to be nano bhai, but it'll be nana. Ena nana bhai sathe काम or jhore काम करे छे. Excuse me. Ena nana bhai sathe काम करे छे. So adjectives and nouns, it happens to those as well. I'll show you some more examples of how this shows up with adjectives and nouns. Okay. Let's take another type of preposition instead of sathe jhore. Let's take another one. Let's take something like below. Okay. Right, below. So let's say frequently with prepositions, not always, but a lot of them in Gujarati have ni, right? So I'll show you an example here. I want to say I'm under the fan. Let's say there's a fan in my kitchen and I sit under it often. So it is something I've said before, right? Pangko ni niche chu. Now, I should have used black to stay consistent. That's okay. Here we have ni niche, right? This is below. That's a preposition. Pangko is a noun. So we can't say pangko ni niche, but pangka. Pangka ni niche chu, or beto or whatever, right? I am under a fan, the fan. So again, this concept of when we have a preposition in our sentence, our nouns in the sentence, our possessive adjectives, and our regular adjectives, our describing words, right? If they are masculine or neuter, singular. In other words, they end in an o or an u. The o or u is going to change to an a. Complicated, no, difficult. So, I hope that's. I know it's a lot. I know that's not necessarily super straightforward. So let's give you a practice exercise. We're going to go into. We use ChatGPT a lot, as you guys know. So we're going to go to ChatGPT, right? So this is chat chat.openai. This is how to practice this, by the way. .com. Chat.openai.com. What you're going to make a free account if you don't have one. You're going to search the following. Give me 20. Let's even do more. Give me 100 sentences in the simple present tense for ESL learners that have one preposition. Okay? You're going to translate those sentences. I'm writing here for those on the audio only and can't see the video. Translate those sentences. You're not going to ask ChatGPT to do this. You're going to do this. Translate those sentences to English, or to Gujarati, sorry. Then you're going to have someone correct those sentences. Make sure you got it right. Okay, cool. I know it's a lot. If you have any questions, you can always contact me by going to Azrin, the language nerd. Azrin, the language nerd.com/contact. You can email me from there or just contact me on any social media platforms that you use. AZ or ZREN, thelanguagenerd.com/contact. Have a great day. We'll chat later. Bye-bye. Aujo.